All right, brothers, what up, though? I pulled up a little clip from a series called Put a Ring on It. Basically, where couples or single people come together and try to, establish a relationship and potentially get married on the OWN or Oprah Winfrey Network. Now, this clip is dated, no doubt about it, but I've never touched on it. This sister here is triggered because she is a single mother and she was on a dating show where a so called black man did not want to date her because she had a child. The brother next to her is a dude who obviously accepted her based on, you know, him just liking her and her liking him, and he did not care if she had a child or not. But look at the look on her face. She's still offended. And keep in mind that this is a reunion special. So the series had already concluded. Let's see what occurs here on this dais.
Those are some strong words, but Joya,
Yes.
you didn't ask for another date with him. What was the turn on?
Specifically, the turnoff was when I asked that
Finna make up something
question
right now.
about would you date a single mother? And Jacoby, you proceeded to tell me that basically you're a high value man and you are too good for a single mother. However, you did also tell me that you were raised by a single mother, which is profound for me to think that a single mother's not good enough for you, but it's good enough for a woman to raise you.
I had to think about this statement and I have to give the point to her. Why? No one is better than anyone, especially when it comes to money or, education. Just because you went to Yale and I did not, or because you went to Harvard and I went to community college does not make you better than me. I understand her argument. I also understand that this is the brother that I said that did not want to date her because she had a single child. I can understand how she can articulate the point of this brother here was raised by a single mother, but a single mother is not good enough for him. I can understand that argument. But what she and most single mothers don't understand is men are like lions in the sense that they are very territorial. Why should any man build himself up, make as much money as he possibly can, train, practice, monetize his skill set, and give it to another man's legacy? I can understand that regard, no doubt about it. I understand it. I'm a good dude. I'm kind. I'm nice, whatever, respectful. I have a lot going on for myself. Why not just get a woman who does not have children so we can start our own family and my first child can also be her first child? I understand that, but let's hear what he has to say to rebuttal.
That's unfair. And it's very insensitive to the women out there who have children.
I disagree with it being unfair. Anyone can do whatever the hell they want to do, especially when it comes to relationships, in the sense that, she just so happens to have a child, but she can easily say, I want a man who doesn't have children. Now, she would be out on a limb, but she can still say it. So, when it comes to fair, you can pretty much have whatever boundaries or criteria or, um, you know, whatever it is that you want when it comes to the person that you date.
All right, so just because it's a cycle, I wanted to continue.
It doesn't have to continue.
So what I'm saying is that
it's more about why would you cut off and say that single women are not on the same level?
What you're supposed to learn from is history. So you're very
Listen, look at this here. This brother here is a simp. The brother here put up his hand to try and, calm down the situation. Nothing is occurring. Nothing is occurring. And I'm looking at this dude saying to myself, he's putting on his simp cape. And allegedly, this is just what I hear, correct me if I'm wrong, but women are strong, brave, mighty, queen, goddess, diva, black girl magic, black girls rock, Wonder Women, and independent. She shouldn't need any help from anyone, especially when it comes to a debate, i.e., a point where the man is taking her seriously. But simps like this are everywhere. And the brother here is actually slightly offended, not because of what he said, but I'm talking about the other brother because he said, you know, I want to stop the cycle. He said something that's true. He actually said something that this brother most likely agrees with, and so does she. But because he was winning the argument or the debate, he had to put his hands up to try and neutralize everything.
No, let me stop you. You're a very intelligent woman. You're a very intelligent woman, right?
Yes.
So if you know...
See how he put his hand down after he complimented her. He had to compliment her to make himself feel a little bit better. And I'm talking about this gentleman here. Okay, he's a little bit cool. He complimented my lady, or complimented the lady. And now he put his hand down, and now he's back to neutral again. Let me say this. The woman has at any given time, 3 layers of entitlement. The first layer of entitlement is her gender. She's a woman, and she believes, or she's under the impression, that this man that I'm talking to, this man that's across from me, is not going to hit me because he was raised to keep his hands to himself, or at the very least know, or raised to believe that men should not hit women, or at the very least knows that men should keep them hands to themselves. So that's the first layer of entitlement that the woman has. Entitlement, i.e. protection. And these two are interchangeable. But when I say entitlement, I do mean protection. Meaning this woman here, in theory, she's not, but in theory, she could say whatever she wanted to say to this man. And the reason she believes that she could get away with it is because he would not hit her, because she is a woman. That is a layer of entitlement. The second layer of entitlement is the societal layer, based off society. Men are shamed if they hit women. Men are shamed if they hit women. So if it ever, was in public, on a train or out in public, wherever, at a restaurant, of course, someone is going to pull out their phone and they're going to upload it on TikTok or YouTube or what have you. And that man is going to be shamed or potentially fired later on from his job because of, the heat that that he's been taking, whatever the case may be. So she has another layer of protection or entitlement to where she can say or do to this man or the man that's standing in front of her whatever she wants, whatever she feels like. The third layer of entitlement is, of course, the law. If he hits me, then he's potentially going to jail or has to pay a fine or do some sort of community service at the very least. The woman has at any given time at least 3 layers of protection. You can add on maybe 4 or 5 layers in the sense of there's always going to be a simp that pops out of the shadows like the Foot from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that's going to say, hold on, bro, that's a female. What you doing? Come on, bro, that's a female. There's always going to be the simp factor of entitlement. So that's 4. And of course, if she has a husband or boyfriend at the time, then she'll have a 5th layer of entitlement to conduct herself any way she wants to conduct herself to a strange man out in public. Just for example, if you were at the movies with your lady and there was some guy being belligerent or drunk at the movie theater and talking real loud and, disrupting the movie for whatever reason, technically, on average, your woman would say something to him before you would. Because if you said something to him, me and you and that other guy that's being belligerent in the theater knows that it could go left at any moment. He could pull out a knife, pull a pistol out, or we can just throw hands all over some dumb shit. But the point is, you would, use discretion. Your girl would not. So as soon as he said something loud, your girl, can you shut the fuck up? Notice that she went all the way as far as she possibly could, or maybe threw some popcorn at him. Why does she do that? Because she is not alone. She has a layer of entitlement. Remember, there is no one ever, ever, ever coming to save the man. No one is ever coming to save the man, ever. He's on his own. Again, the woman has her gender. The woman has society. The woman has the law or the police system. And the woman has you. At least that's what she believes. And of course, she will always have the simp. These are just the facts. These are just the facts.
As a woman growing up, it's the less likelihood for you to be successful by having a child. So what you do, you be more proactive.
That offended her. That offended her. You don't want to make the same mistakes. If your parent was a single parent, yes, you don't want to do that again. So you be proactive. You use a condom. You make sure you have birth control, or you abstain from sex and focus on your skill and education and try to monetize that for later on in life. He's right. That's why her mouth is shut.
What's that got to do with your choice?
Okay, if you're getting pregnant, then all right, cool. Maybe I shouldn't continue having this child because I'm not getting married. I a better chance of me having a successful life.
You're speaking of me.
Excuse me. So you were raised by a single mother.
Yes. And
is your mother still alive?
I struggled. My mom's still alive.
Did she struggle or did you struggle?
Both of us struggle.
Okay. So your words.
She's getting offended too. Most likely she's a single mother as well. Understand this very carefully. Let me let her finish and I'll chime in.
All around social media, and I want to make sure that we have this clearly. I'm a high value man. I've done things to step up my echelon, and I'm not going to settle for a single mother.
Yeah.
Did I have that correctly? I want to be clear.
Yeah, we'll be selling.
Right. So, what makes you think you're a high value man? The car you drive?
No, the value I put out into the world.
What about your character?
I have great character. I built myself to basically have better choices. You want to know why? Because women can choose and make a choice. They can say, I don't want to date a man that makes less than 6 figures. They can. And then what are you doing?
But we're not talking about that. That's not the situation.
Ma'am, be fair. We are talking about that. And we are talking about the situation. We're talking about the woman can choose and pick and choose and change her mind back and change her mind again. And she can have any set of criteria she wants. She can always move the goalposts. Men have to be quiet. Take what you can get. Take what you can get. That's what they want from men, specifically black men. I can't stress this enough. The so-called black man is at the very bottom. The very bottom. When it comes to the Caucasian or any other demographic, he doesn't even exist. And in his own community, he's below everybody. He's below the heterosexual black woman. He's also below the homosexual black man. The heterosexual black man is at the very bottom of any society. These are just the facts. Nigga, when you wake up in the morning, if you decide to wake up, if not, oh well. But nigga, if you wake up in the morning, leave everybody alone. Leave everybody alone. You can go to work. That's fine. If you don't have a job, oh well. But leave everybody alone. When you turn on the TV and you see TV shows and when you see commercials, when you see film, the so-called black man is weak, or he's gay, but he's weak and he's not with the so-called black woman. Every movie that comes out, the so-called black woman is with a white boy, or she's a lesbian. These are just the facts. Or the so-called black man is with a white girl, or he's gay. These are just the facts. He's portrayed as weak, or he's silly, or he's useless, like the character of Finn portrayed by John Boyega in the last Star Wars franchise. He's weak. He's not really needed. It is what it is.
What I want to ask.
Choices. You want to know why? Because women can choose and make a choice.
They can
say, I don't want to date a man that makes less than 6 figures. And then what are you doing? You're
we're not
demeaning a man.
talking about that.
Women
That's
can
not
talk
the
about
situation
things.
that
Listen,
that's not the
women can say, I
conversation.
want to date a man less than 5'8", and the man can be 5'4". Do they care about
What does that have to do with
exercising?
It has to do with everything that we're talking about, ma'am. Y'all can pick. Why can't he? Y'all can pick. Y'all can have prerequisites. Oh, he's not making 6 figures? No, thank you. Oh, he's not 6'3"? No, thank you. But when a man says anything, oh, I want a woman with natural hair, there is, it's controversial. Why? Because it's a so-called black man saying it. And some people might question why. Why is the so-called black man at the bottom? The so-called black man is at the bottom because he's supposed to be at the top. He's supposed to, spiritually. He's supposed to be at the top. He's supposed to be running this whole game. That's the real reason. And that's why the so-called black man gets no respect. Because when other demographics look at us, they see something that we do not see in ourselves. That's the real truth of it. That's the real truth of it. We set the tones, we set the trends. We're the most passionate, we're the most artistic, we're the most athletic, and to be quite frank with you, we have the most ingenuity. We're the only group that can take something and make it something else, and take nothing and make something that anyone can need and use. It's us. We're the best. We're the best. We are the best. In theory. We're not the best because we're at the very bottom, because we don't like each other. We don't want to work with one another. We don't trust one another. And anytime a brother makes it, there's a lot of hate. There's more hate surrounding him than there's love and kudos. That's just a fact. The only way we will be able to run things the way the quote unquote Caucasian is running things now is if we unite. But I don't see that happening anytime soon, because that starts with the man in the mirror. And then, of course, establishing a relationship with the Most High. Not religion, just a relationship with the Most High. That's it.
with anything?
If a fat man is sitting here, he can be a fat man, right? But if a fat woman is sitting here, you would say, oh no, we're body positive.
Talk facts. She's looking at him with a quote unquote side eye and disgust to a degree, but he's right. And she knows it. Let me say another thing that the so-called black man can't do. The black man cannot be allowed to stand on his square. He can't stand 10 toes down. He's not allowed to do that. How dare you? You are a so-called black man. You're at the bottom. How dare you stand up for yourself? If you are a so-called black man and you stand up for yourself, they do not like that. And when I say they, I'm talking about any other demographic. They don't like it. And I'm talking about the majority. I'm talking about the majority. Now, 50,000 out of 1 million will be on your side, but the other 950,000, no. No. How dare you have a thought in that brain of yours? If a so-called black man was to homeschool his child or children Everyone would look at him like he had 3 heads, but they wouldn't think twice if an Asian man decided to do the same thing, or a Jewish father, or a Caucasian father, or a Japanese father. No one would say anything. But a so-called black man pulling his kids out of school to homeschool them, how dare you? How dare you believe that you can do a better job than the public school system? You are alone out here. We are behind enemy lines. We just are, spiritually, and of course in America. We just are. The only thing the so-called black man can do is continue or establish a relationship with the Lord, with the scriptures. That's the best thing he can do. And with that, learn to adapt and pivot when he needs to. Stay astute and stay sharp. That's the only thing the so-called black man can do. And hopefully the Most High can reward him when the time comes. But you are on your own. We don't even have the so-called black woman on our side. There are subgroups on the internet, whether that's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, what have you, where the so-called black man is at odds with the so-called black woman. In my view, technically, the so-called black woman is at odds with the so-called black man, because women, in theory, or technically, they want it all. And we are at the very bottom. That's why a lot of people might say women are hypergamous, in the sense that they want a man who's better or doing better than they are, as they should. And the woman is not wrong for wanting that. You can go all the way back to high school and notice how the women wouldn't, if she's a senior in high school, she wouldn't be caught dead dating a freshman. She wants the captain of the basketball team or the star quarterback. It just is what it is. It just is what it is. So you being at the very bottom in society's eyes, yes, it's only natural for the Caucasian to have his pick, because he is the head right now. He's leading right now. For whatever reason, the Most High gives certain authority over, known nations throughout history to lead. Whether that's Kemet, whether that's, ancient Egypt, or the Greeks, or, on and on. Right now, it's the Caucasian's turn. It is what it is.
Oh, no, we can't say that. We can't. It's all about picking her up. So every time you're saying something for a man,
bro,
it's down.
You got a lot on your back. Yeah. Okay. So what I want to be clear, not just for.
I hear what he's saying, but she's not going for it, brother, because you're a so-called black man. Maybe if you were Caucasian, they might kind of be okay with it. Maybe. But the man is at the bottom. Everything he said was correct.
But for everybody out there, is the car you drive, your resume, your bank account, your accolades is not what makes you a high value man. We are all defined by the sum of our deeds and our character. And you, brother, are coming up to the sum of 0.
I disagree. Brother, keep your head up. I like that little pin, that little brooch that he has on his fly. I like that. It looks like a flower, but maybe like an octopus kind of whatever, but I'm pretty sure it's like a little flower or whatever. Anyway, if it was me on this couch, I would say this, and I'm speaking for everybody. I'm speaking for every man. I'm speaking for every woman. Everybody has a right to start their own family. These are just the facts. Everybody has a right to start their own family. And to be quite frank with you, women are more adamant about dating men with no children than men are. For the most part, we have a lot of brothers that, is doing big boy shiz, making big boy money. But on the average, most brothers are average, making, between, 35 and 50 a year, if that. So they okay with being with, a woman with kids is no big deal. Chances are he probably got kids too. But even if he doesn't, he's okay with dating a single mom, no big deal. Because in his mind, he just want a girl, just something, just most men are really easy. It's the woman that wants it all. Like she wants a lawyer and he wants him to be, she wants him to be a little thug a little bit and, be her daddy, but also be her friend and, know when to listen, but also know when to not help, but just listen. And it is what it is. The woman, she's, there's a lot more nuance when it comes to dating the woman. But for men, it's just, real easy, real easy. But if it's me, everybody has a right to start their own family. And like most men, they want their first child to be her first child too. If I'm going to work and educate myself and put myself in a position to get just about any girl I want, why would I date one who already has ties to another man for the rest of her life? I can get that now. No disrespect to brothers at, working retail or, whatever, quote unquote, just average brothers. But, those guys can get a girl. I'm making, 6 figures. I'm making, $150 a year. I can get just about anything. Why would I date a single mom? Doesn't make sense. When I could date a woman with no children. It just is what it is. Earlier, the host said that if you dated the single mom, you would be settling. And the music said, doom. That is a big trigger word for women, specifically so-called black women, when they say settle. No one settles. You get what you can get. No one settles. You get what you can get. No one settles. If you're with her, that means that she couldn't get anyone else. And you couldn't get anyone else, or you didn't want anyone else. But no one settles. No one settles. I mean, if Rihanna came down and dated a dude working at Starbucks, most women would say she settles. But I would say, damn, that dude at Starbucks must got it going on for Rihanna. He has something that Rihanna must have. So Rihanna wouldn't be settling. Because Rihanna can get whoever. So how is she settling with a dude at Starbucks? She likes that dude for whatever reason. There's a connection there. No one settles. You get what you can get, or you get what you like. Either way, everybody has a right to start their own family. If you're the type of brother or man that does not want to date a single mom, do not feel bad. Don't let society demonize you. It's okay. It's okay. Trust and believe that being a single father is a selfless act and a thankless act at that. You will always be the third wheel, always, and you're going to have to share your family for the rest of your life. You're going to have to do that because especially if the father is still in their life. So when Father's Day comes around or Thanksgiving and Christmas and the child's birthday, you're going to have to see that man forever. You just are. Now, I don't want that. And I'm like this brother here. He doesn't want it either. I get it. You want your own thing. If that other man, if the baby daddy calls at 10 o'clock at night or whatever, you really can't say nothing. You really can't say anything. What can you say? Except, hey, can you tell him to stop calling so late if it's not about the kids? It's just, you went to Harvard, you went to Yale, you making this much money and you driving this car and you can provide this and she don't have to work and you dealing with that. I get it. Now, I'm not saying a high value man is based on just monetary, no doubt about it. But still, I mean, you work hard, you can get whatever you want. And to be quite frank, this brother comes off as the type of man that most women would go for anyway. A taller brother with money, young. It is what it is. But that's it for this one.
Amen.
It's all right, brother. You get something.